the last 72 hours has been ridiculously crazy. A whole roller coaster, just ups, downs, rounds, loops, whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna holler at my man Jerm, man, and just let him just kind of ask whatever questions he wants. Because this was a one right here. So
I mean,
hopefully I won't scare nobody from traveling, but the story ain't for that. It's a moral to this somewhere. I'm gonna find it, but hopefully Jerm will help me find it with me. So what's up?
So show 2, Lab of Life. We here.
Yeah.
Of course, we got Jerm, we got Mr. M drop the J because the fadeaways perfect. Let's call it what it is, Perfect. Let's dive right into it, man. Look, I like my stories with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So let's start at the top. What happened?
Gee, it ain't no filler, man. Look. All right, so in order for y'all to understand this story as I go into great detail, I'm gonna take you back and I'm gonna give you a quick story just so you can understand how my life works, right? So a few years back, I worked at this job. I still work at the job. I just work from home now. We used to have Walmart around the corner, and I used to go there for lunch as opposed to kept spending my money, my $10 on restaurant food. Hence the reason why you see all of this, that, working, got a lot of that. Just sit there, you sit in the desk. Anywho, so I'm walking with a coworker, we just chopping up, then this thing just kind of fly on my coat. And I just kind of just did like this. Mind you, I have a coat on, just keep that in mind. I just do like this, go into Walmart, we buy something, you know what I mean? Get some food, I walk back, I sit at my cube, I eat. Then obviously, you know what happens when you eat. You gotta eliminate the waste. So I go into the bathroom to eliminate the waste right before I'm about to go back to work. An hour and about 45 minutes have passed since I did this off my coat, right? So I go in the bathroom, pull my pants down because I'm taking number 2, and I noticed something moving in my pants. I'm like, what the fuck? Mind you, I'm sitting on a stool right now. So I see something moving on my pants. Out of nowhere, a whole dragonfly like this big flew out my pants. That thing that I swiped, I guess I swiped in my pants. It was this big. You got the picture? The picture?
It's on my phone. It's on my phone.
Bruh, that was in my pants for a whole 50 minutes and didn't move, didn't do nothing until I got on the toilet. So the thing flew out. Of course, I jumped a little bit. I went on ahead and stomped it. And I took a picture of it because I'm like, nobody's going to ever believe this story. So to this day, I had so many questions at that very moment. Where did the fly go? How was it chilling? How did it get in my pants? Why didn't it move? Why was it so comfortable in my pants? Why didn't I get stung or whatever it is? It was a big ass dragonfly. And then I just realized, you know what? This is kind of how my life works. Sometimes just random stuff happen that makes no sense at all. And you just kind of got to live with it. So moving right along, this airport situation was definitely a dragonfly story. So we just left the wet Saturday. Got up 4 a.m., caught the lift. We had a flight to Nashville and a connecting flight to Atlanta. The wedding is at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No, it was 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We think we
MJ, you there? All right, well, technical difficulties real quick. He jumping right back in, but as he jumps back in, the retired player came back.
So dragonfly just keep happening. So just random stuff. I have no idea what's going on with my iPad. It's just random shit. It just keeps stuff happening. So if I fall out again, just understand dragonfly moment, I'll come back. Cool. Now that y'all get my life, y'all can understand if I pop in and out, it's really not my fault. It's just shit happens. So flying. We get to our Nashville, no problems. As soon as we get to Nashville, we land. Everybody cut their phone on. Everybody's phone going crazy, beeping, vibrating, all types of Amber Alerts talking about some weather situation. That already happened, by the way. And then they say, yeah, your flight is canceled. our Atlanta flight got canceled. The same flight we supposed to the same flight we supposed to be at to get to the wedding canceled. They just like, yeah, there's just no flight. That's just what it is. So it's a whole line, like probably as long as Cedar Point. I'm pretty sure you went to Cedar Point, you being an Ohio cat. Cedar Point line on the craziest ride you could think of. That's the line of people trying to bitch and moan and get their way on the plane ticket, right? So I went on ahead, snuck up in the line, went to the other line to act like I was like talking about the Texas trip and started talking about my trip. Like, yo, man, what is going on? And he straight told me, he was like, we ain't got nothing else coming in until tomorrow. Nothing else. That ain't no punchline. That was it. We ain't got another flight coming tomorrow. So, for the first time ever in my life, I didn't bring out one carry-on. So my bag is just whatever, right? Keep that in mind, because that's when the story gets like just ridiculous. So, you know, we talk about it. My wifey ended up going on Facebook to ask for some advice. So if y'all don't believe me, y'all could pull up her Facebook and see her asking, you know, talking about us being stranded. So we eventually was like, okay, we could get a rental. It's 4 hours away. We'll still kind of make it on time. Boom, we go get the rental, cancel the other rental. Everything's gravy, right? All we need now is our bags. That's it. Just need our bags. So we go talk to the dude. He's like, okay, describe your bag. I said, you know, I got a really big gray one. She has a brown, you know, left beige type of combination going on. They was like, okay, cool. It's gonna take a few minutes, but we're gonna get it. So we go to the bag lady. Literally, you know, on the cafeteria, when you close the cafeteria, it's that metal door that closes down, and the window's only like yay big, just enough to see a little bit. So that's where our bag was coming in. That's called the oversized part, the oversized luggage. So they had to use the oversized luggage to give us our bag. 9 a.m. Clock ticking. So we asked the lady, so what's going on? She was like, yeah, they unfortunately it's just coming a little late. It will be here, but it may take an hour and a half to get our bag. Now, this is the part I need for y'all to understand what made it so crazy. Every time the bags pull up, that metal door opens. Imagine you waiting for your bag, the metal door opens, some random head peek out, drop one bag, close the metal door, and drive off. It was like Hostel. So every 5 minutes, they was pulling around, lifting up, dude sticks his hand out, says whatever random place these bags is coming from. Sometimes they'll drop a lot of bags, but you know it's just coming from another flight. Because our flight, they was only going 1, 2 at a time. Dude, if you understood it was like Japanese water torture watching all of those bags go to and from, and none of them was ours. Meanwhile, again, clock is ticking because we got somewhere to be. We could get there in 4 hours, but now it's 10. Mind you, 10 Central Time, so that means it's 11. Still no bag. So then, of course, you know, it can't just be cool or whatever. So some random white dude decided to flex his privilege and just started cussing out everybody. We've been waiting so-and-so, and we ain't got our bags. And the lady was just over it. She was just like, well, go to the baggage claim place. Baggage claim place got a long line now. So he's like, I'm not about to wait in that line there. You gotta tell me what's going on. She's like, there's nothing I can say. So everybody's just sitting there just waiting on their bag, right? 10:15. 10:25. 10:30. About 10:40. All of a sudden, some random girl that we knew that was on our flight pops up and she just starts sprinting to the baggage aisle too. Nobody told us they was just gonna put the rest of the Atlanta bags on another baggage. Since nobody knew nothing. So she just started sprinting. I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm like, oh, she must have saw a bag. Okay, lucky her, whatever. And then out of nowhere, my wife like, oh, my bag over there. I'm like, oh shit. So we run, go get the bag, drive 4 hours to the way. By the time we get there, it was only time to get ready. And then we was late, right? You'll think this is a happy ending. No, it's not a happy ending. Not yet. You on mute, boy. You on mute. What you say? I still can't hear you, man. So you'll think it's a happy ending. Nah, ain't no happy ending. So my cousin had a wedding on a rooftop.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. So I don't know. I'm telling you, everybody called this the dragonfly because all sorts of silly shit is happening right now. So cousin had the wedding on the rooftop. We get there at about 6:10, which is fucking amazing considering everything we had to go through. 4 a.m., not a nap, nothing. We get there at 6:10. We get in the elevator. We push the button. Nothing light up. We push the button again. Nothing light up. The goddamn elevator only can work if somebody had a code to be able to bring you down and come back up. So we still missed the goddamn wedding. Yo, bro.
All that, you still missed the wedding?
We missed the wedding. We obviously we made it to the reception, but the whole wedding vows, we missed all of it. Because once the wedding started, they didn't have anybody at the elevator to come down. They didn't plan for people being late. Even though I told them specifically, we're going to get there, but we're probably going to be late because of what we're going on right now. So we do all that, pay for parking, all that, just to miss the wedding. That's what happened. So my mother was there. Obviously, she flew there a day before because she didn't have another wedding to go to the day before. Because we had a wedding in Chicago Saturday, hence the reason why we didn't fly earlier. We literally did a same day flight into the wedding. So when we got there, my mother was just waiting there. She hugged me, whatever. I told her, Mom, look, I know you ain't used to this, but I'm about to get a couple of Long Islands and I deserve this. So if I act ignorant, just, pray for me like you always do, because this is about to get real emotional and I'm about to turn up. But wedding was a blast, all of that to be said, but it was just, during the process, if you heard the screaming, and we got free ticket vouchers out of it too. So that was the happy ending to the story. We got free ticket vouchers. So we're going to fly somewhere else. I have no freaking idea where. But yeah, all of that went down. All of that. That's what was going on in the last.
Man, listen, that sounds like The Weeknd.
Bruh, it was a sitcom, man. Like the hostel window was really what it was. The hostel window, like I don't ever want to see that window. I don't ever want to see that metal thing again, man. I don't never go to a cafeteria again. I can't see it. I got PTSD already from that, bro.
Man, so I guess my question is,
go ahead.
With all of this stuff that you had going on,
all of it,
how did you find a way to persevere through all of that?
You know something? I thought of the dragonfly story. I'm like, some things just happen that just don't make no damn sense. Sometimes I just get challenged randomly with everything that could possibly happen that I have no control over happening happens. And the suck part about it is I hate the fact that, I'm so numb to it because I've seen everything. Listen, at this point, an alien could come down in a Cleveland Browns jersey and a leopard skin tutu, and I would not be surprised or amazed. I'll just be like, okay, is he a friend or an enemy? If he's an enemy, how are we gonna kill it? Like, there's nothing I could see anymore that's gonna amaze me because I've already seen and went through so many crazy, annoying things. It's annoying. That's what makes it funny because it ain't no like real stuff like, how I'm gonna get food or like I've had those moments too. But when you have those moments, these little moments right here is even more annoying because you like, this is just in the way. Like this is just a real inconvenience.
Mm-hmm.
But with the inconvenience, like I said, it's like I can tell with certain things it's a test because I've just learned. Certain times I'm just getting tested. And unfortunately, my wife is not used to this lifestyle, so she don't handle it well yet. She'll get there. But, my focus was just like, all right, what's next? And then just having to wait for that bag, it was like a metaphor to my life. All the things that I want, it's there, but I just gotta wait.
I mean, you know, that's a good way to think about it, because when everybody goes through something, when everybody goes through stuff, the first thing everybody says is, why me? Sometimes there's an underlying circumstance or situation that comes out of some of these things. I mean, the free flight voucher, that may not be anything much, but now you get to focus on the next trip that you guys decide that you want to take. You get to decide, hey, well, I ain't got to worry about this part.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. Like I stated, it's like after a while, I mean, maybe sports, you know, helped me through this too, like missing game winners and seeing your teammates cry when you miss it, or, you know, like doing everything that you can and, you know, things just don't go your way. I could go back to college when I had my final paper done 3 months prior and my floppy disk crashed. Yeah, I'm that old. I'm floppy disk old. So I can even go back that far. It's just like, and then it's just like you get bad, you can't throw the computer because now that just doubles the situation. Then you just take a deep breath, like, well, got to do it again. And that's just kind of what it is. Again, I don't know why I go through these things. I have no idea, but it happens. It just is what it is. So you got to just deal with it as it comes, man. But
you gotta roll with the punches, man. Life is about rolling with the punches, y'all. Don't let it get you down because things ain't going your way. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's only for so many things that can go right. All it takes is for one thing to go wrong.
Mess up the whole operation. All it takes is for a flight to get canceled.
Literally.
You got bags. Just got your bags. And now you sit there just watching this window roll up slowly and hoping that your bag comes, and it never comes. It actually comes somewhere else, and nobody tells you where it comes. You just got to go see it and find it. Dude, and just in the process of all that, we ain't eat, we ain't had no water, because, you know, once you leave that, like, terminal place, all the food places, there ain't no food places like where the baggage claim at. So we out here hungry, we out here thirsty as hell.
Y'all hangry now by this point.
Hey, yeah, so add all of that into it too. So we didn't eat. We didn't do nothing. We just sit there just like I was at one point, I ain't even want my bag no more. I'm like, man, just have a sandwich come in. Like, treat me like a Christmas for real. Just send a sandwich real quick, man. Like, you know, a Dasani. Just give me a Dasani real quick. I don't even want the good water. I don't even want a section. Just give me a Dasani. Dasani and a sandwich, a ham sandwich.
Man just wanted a ham sandwich at that stage. I got you.
How do you eat pork? That's what makes it even funnier. Like, at that point, beggars could not be choosers. Like, whatever y'all sent to this PBJ, whatever, the little crustaceans is still kind of frozen a little bit. Well, I don't care what you send me at this point. I'm like, man, I'm hungry. We want to get on this road. It was just horrible, bro. But, you know, that's how I know, you know, God be with me sometimes. And, you know, to speak on it, this is a good segue to talk about God. We're going to go ahead and talk about Lil Nas X, because, you know, he went to work on the devil and whatnot. So I'm going to let you go ahead and speak your piece real quick, bro.
So I don't want to speak on the legalities, which is I don't care about what Nike did. I don't care. I mean, let's be honest. This is the same Nike that y'all supported because they said good things about the, you know, the situation with Colin Kaepernick. They did the commercial. They did all of those different things. So y'all went and said, oh, we're going to support them. Not realizing that's still publicity for their particular brand and who predominantly buys their shoes.
Brothers. Us.
So I just wanted to make sure we understand and we stay on that page first and foremost. Now, I want to know where the violation starts, because if the violation is you don't play about God, I want y'all to make sure that we have the same. Yes, I am a part of the same energy group. When I see your memes, when I see your gifts, when I see all of this energy that's playful, we play about everything else. But the moment somebody does something that we don't like, we are allowed to be super offended by it.
Yeah.
I don't like the energy because it's unfair. It's unjust. Why am I saying I don't like it? Because it's unfair and it's unjust? Because at the end of the day, we don't have to do all of that. I was sent this video that was just a piece of the clip by my best friend. I seen 35 seconds of a fraction of it. And I said, this is not for me. Meaning I didn't see a whole lot of the video. I seen a couple seconds and said, this is not for me. And that was the last time I spoke about it.
I'm going to tell you like this. I ain't even see the video. I saw 2 pictures on Instagram of a dude that I follow speaking about, pretty much telling what happened through it. So thank you. He was the narrative for me to save that visual. Because I definitely don't want no visual of some dude busting it open for the devil. Like, I don't want to see a dude busting it open for anybody. Like, that's just me. This has nothing to do with hatred or going at the LGBTQ community or none of that. I just don't want to see that. There's a lot of things that I don't want to see, and it's not. I shouldn't be offended. You shouldn't be offended because I don't want to see it. It's not what I like. It's not what I'm attracted to. And quite frankly, it's kind of sucks that a person's sexuality, matters. What you do behind closed doors should be just what you do behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but that's me talking the way it should be. So let me just shut up there. And it's not that I'm not sensitive to the fact that there's been a lot of hate crimes with this, hence the reason why they fight so hard for their rights. I salute all of that and everything. The only thing that I just need for them to understand is if we're going to be equal, if everybody is supposed to be equal, right? The last time I checked, everybody get roasted. Everybody get joked about. So, and that includes, us as Black folks. It's like, we can't, if we're going to talk about certain things, we can't have an imaginary line and say, okay, that's too far. Either we gonna go in or we're just gonna be tolerant and respectful. Because that gray area, it just depends on the human being. I mean, I try to speak positive energy into everybody because, I grew up in that era where, everybody roasted each other or whatever. And, sometimes it got to the point where people will get to fights because of it. And, everybody will always say, sticks and stones. I mean, you got to have that energy. But for the most part, power, life, or death is in the tongue. It's people that grew up who were said things in their process of growing up that affects them right now to this day on how they move. I can honestly say I'm one of them. So it's not that it's just the words. It actually sucks. But, I think we all go through what we go through to mold us to be what we need to be so that we can make a decision on not allowing that to hold us back. Because we always talk about accountability on the show. The main thing about accountability is there is no excuse why you should not be successful.
And success is not based on societal standards. It's based on what you deem as success. So that's something else we'll get into another day. But I want to make sure that we understand what the whole gripe of this whole thing was with the Lil Nas situation. If y'all want people to respect your God the way that y'all will respect them, I want y'all to show the same respect. So that means no more gifts, no more memes, no more of this little ignorant behavior that y'all be doing. Because at the end of the day, what it shows me that only you're allowed to do something based on you and how you feel. Because, oh, well, God knows my heart. That's my favorite excuse that folks use. Oh, God knows my heart. No, it's not about knowing your heart. It's about for you to take the time to critique and ridicule somebody else. I'm going to need for you to look in the mirror and say, hey, I do my own type of thing here that is probably not conducive for me to be doing on my end. So that's the number one thing that I want to get through there. The number two thing is, if y'all got a problem with dude because of his sexual orientation or disposition, whatever we want to call it, that's one thing. But there's a certain thing that we call be quiet. It's really called shut the F up, but we're going to say be quiet because I'm trying to be politically correct. Why? Because you don't need to say everything that comes to your mind.
Well,
some form of tactfulness at some point needs to be illustrated. We are adults at the end of the day. These are things I expect for women to do. But when I see grown men going out on a limb to to act like this is just the biggest thing and I'm sick of this and I'm sick of that. Okay, wait, time out. You have this thing called don't watch it. Y'all hate the basketball. Y'all hate basketball because it's so soft and everything else. So don't watch it. You hate the NFL because it's rigged and it's so bad. Don't watch it. You hate the way this, and this is done, whatever the case. Don't watch it. Like y'all make it seem like y'all don't have an option. Like somebody is sitting there with a pistol to your head, like you gotta watch this. You don't.
Here's the issue with that. I get all that you're saying, but here's the issue with that. Because we live in a world in which anybody at any given moment can pop off with their opinion. Their opinion can literally make them millions of dollars, even though everybody has an opinion. Certain opinions can obtain so many views to where it get 1 million views. Now you're actually getting paid to speak on things, whether you're an expert on it or not. And that's really what it is. So everybody is seeing these individuals speak on how they feel about certain things, whether it's comical, whether it's a snap off, whether it's angry, whether it's real stuff, whether they preaching, no matter what it is. It's like we're seeing certain things go viral. And deep down inside, I just need for people to keep it real. You do this because you either want money for your thoughts, you want to turn it into a hustle, or you want the attention. Because I'm speaking on this personally because I think we should get paid for our thoughts. That's why I'm going to be transparent with you. Outside of this, the last 2 topics we talk about, I didn't give a fuck less about them. I didn't care about what Derek Jackson did. I sure as hell don't give a fuck about what Lil Nas X doing to the devil. But because y'all talking about it, it makes me want to talk about it. Because hell, why should I stop myself from possibly going viral talking about some shit? Yeah, that's what y'all try to do, right? So I'm keeping the same energy. Since everybody got an opinion on it, I might as well have one too, right? But my opinion is a little bit different and factual. My whole opinion based on it is I don't fucking like it, so I'm not going to watch it. See, my power and my authority comes from me actually clicking a view. My power and authority actually comes from me speaking on stuff. So if I'm going to speak on it, I might notice I didn't make a post about it. It's free to look in my post. So why would I make a post about something for free if I could make a post about something that could possibly turn into a bag? And that's the part that I think people subconsciously don't want to admit because they want to think it's coming from a level in which they're trying to help others or they're trying to uplift others and all that. Like if you're secure in what you're doing with your purpose, you don't have to explain shit to anybody.
That's where we need to get that, but that's where we need to get to. But see, that's the thing. So MJ, we be transparent with each other a lot. Yeah. You know the biggest reason why I'm not really into pop culture like that? Because I have no desire to continually discuss what everybody else is doing with their time. Let me say that again. I don't care who this person is dating. That doesn't do me any good. I'm not dating her. I don't care. But you know what? These are the pop culture topics that ultimately people want to talk about because everybody just wants to be able to voice how they feel or project their insecurities onto the situation. And yes, I went there. I said it.
No, because now you opened up a can of worms in which I'm really gonna go there. I'm gonna say this, and I saw this on a documentary. I don't know the name of the documentary, but I'm not trying to plagiarize it. Y'all can look it up on Netflix. It's about the whole social media thing. It said, in the game of life, I'm paraphrasing. In the game of life, there's only 2 people that are referred to as users. It's only 2 clients that are referred to as users. Drug dealers and social media. Because the thing about it is with this social media, what you have to understand how this works. And with social media, if you don't use it for your advantage and you allow it to use you, you're going to end up pretty much painting your world on social media because that social media is going to only mold the people that agree with you, the people that have similarities with your thought process, and they're only going to show those things on your social media. to make you feel like you have a fan base and people care. That's deep as hell. So it's like it literally, every time you push Facebook and you see that notification and you push that button, you get instant gratification because you know something happened. And you clicking on it gives you the reward as to what something happens. Like the Google users was explaining this as to how this worked. And even as they were explaining it when they created it, or former Google workers, they said they still can't like stop. That's how powerful it is. You know, it just triggers the mind to be able to want to know what's going to happen next. It triggers the mind to be able to be like, okay, I got to check on this because if I click on it, it's going to give me something that is going to satisfy me, whether it's something I care about or not. It's like almost like playing the lottery with your time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you post a picture or when you post a statement or whatever, you know, obviously it gives you a notification as to who liked it, loved it, who cared about it, who commented on it, which is doing what? Adding more of the fix. So eventually what happens is, here we are posting 9-10 times a day in attempt to get that fix. So anything that happens that trends, I mean, let's be real. You know, this is a topic that I think is worth discussing, but there's a lot of things that trended that shouldn't be worth discussing, like that blue gold dress or that white gold dress that everybody was arguing about for 2 months. Like, it's all sorts of crazy stuff that just pop out of nowhere. When did Kermit sip it to? Where the fuck did that come from? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, certain things just pop out of nowhere. It just trends. I'm like, how? How did that happen? Kermit sipping some tea, which is still hot to this day.
Yep.
Crazy. A goddamn puppet, a frog puppet, with some fake tea in his mouth. And again, I'm saying it because I do it too. I'm not, looking at y'all and judging y'all because I do it too. But it's time for at least us to like look at it and maybe just maybe we can be a little bit more conscious about our intake, or be more responsible in how we use this thing, because if we don't, it's gonna use us. It has been for too long. And then, with the advertising, they're taking your information, they're taking your privacy, and they're manipulating all the stuff that you like, don't like, and they're putting it right in your advertising, right in your face. And this is the reason why Facebook, even though it's free, can get paid the amount of money they get paid. And it's also the reason why they keep coming up with different types of things like TikTok and all of
that. I just want everybody to understand more than anything else, man. All of this complaining, it ain't where it's at.
It's gonna happen though. It ain't gonna go nowhere because
I'm not mad about it. I'm just simply saying, just like, hey, perfect segue. There are worse things in life that happen to us on a day-to-day basis. You've experienced that weekend from hell. Are you sitting here complaining about it, or it's like, you know what? Number one, what does that do? Because I mean, this is how I look at it, just from my perspective, okay? But this is just Jern. I don't expect everybody to do and pull a me. But I'm looking at it like MJ, just like, well, I get to spend some quality time with the rib. That's how you talk. So I gotta speak MJ's way.
Speak MJ. I can't wait to hear this.
I gotta get to spend some quality time with the rib, pretty much, psychologically, it's just like, hey, it's time for us to bond, create, a little bit more deeper, mental chemistry, things of that nature. This is a good ass MJ. This is a good ass. Hey, and then the other part is, it's just like, and then now she get to see, now she really knows that I'm not playing when I say any fucking thing can happen. And yes, I had to say that because that's exactly what it is. It's MJ just say whatever the fuck comes to his mind, because that's just what happens. Absolutely. So these are the things that he's thinking about. He's not thinking about, oh, this always happened to me. He's just thinking, I'm used to things not going as planned. So instead of complaining about it, at least I get to share this experience with somebody I care about.
Yeah.
And at least I'm not here by myself.
Don't get it twisted. She it was a few times we was in the car. She was just like, I can't stand you. I hate your guys. And I get what she meant. She didn't hate me for real, but it was just the fact that I remained calm through the whole thing. But it's just like, it's ironic that I am a fire sign and she an earth sign. So it's like us together is
like, yeah. See, you'll be setting her whole little world on fire, don't you?
No, that's what I'm saying. Either I can
metaphorically.
I can burn it. I know this. I don't have any in between. Either I can warm up the earth or I can burn the bitch down. So I have to always be over. I have to overcompensate for what I want to do, because for me to say I didn't have any emotion or I wasn't pissed will be an understatement. Shit, I wanted to flip that whole motherfucking thing upside down. But it's like me doing that, you know what I mean?
Serves you no purpose.
Not only does it serve me no purpose, but what type of leader I am to act that way. It will be times I'll have certain coaches in which when I'll be playing and, you know, the game get really tense, I'll be looking at the sideline and just kind of see what he wants us to do. And this dude is doing all of this or whatever. Like, luckily I'm calm enough to not like pay attention and tune that out and move to the next step. But if you're a person that don't really know the game or is looking for guidance at that moment, what is that going to do for them?
Nothing.
Seeing you act a whole plumb fool or whatever, and it's like, yo, but we still in this game. We still got a couple of plays that we can make to be able to turn this thing around. But you in a whole frenzy on the sideline. You the dude supposed to be leading me so that I can lead other people. What is that going to do? You know, I've had kids always ask me, why do you play so calm? I'm like, because I experienced everything already. There's nothing else on this game you can't show me. I experienced failure. I've missed last-second shots that made people cry. I've put in 6-7 hours a day and getting good at this game only to still have a sub 500 team. I've played with guys that, you know what I mean, were great players or whatever, and, you know, I shook up with them after the season only to find out they get in a car accident and on life support and die. Like, it gets real deep. Like, I've played with guys during the middle of the season who was with a family member, got shot, drove that family member, saved that family member, and then died. I've had my best players on my team, you know, flunk out, and that was just me and the walk-ons. Now I got to play power forward, even though I'm every bit of 6 feet, and that's if I stretch. In college, we ain't talking high school. It's college. I've had to play power forward in college because our offense was built around the bigs, and we had no bigs. So it's like, you got to play the big. And in that same game, like, okay, now I need you to run the point because the point guard hurt. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. If you prepare yourself for everything, you're not going to be shocked when it happens. If you put your mind to a level in which you understand that at any given moment, anything can happen, you don't set yourself up to panic.
So what is panic? I'm going to be honest with you. I would love to tell you the definition, but I don't have any desire to today. Webster taking a vacation. He'll be back after Easter Sunday. So you got Germ. And I think what panic is for a lot of people, it is fear of something you can't control.
That's a good definition to me.
I mean, logically.
Hey, from this point on, we're going to call that the merit. You know how you call it the Webster? That's the merit.
Hey, the merit. Hey, listen, we're going to have some segments throughout because we're gonna be getting some sponsors off this because this is real. But let's just be honest about it, MJ. Why do we want so much control over every part of our life, bruh, that it don't make no sense? We want control over the hours that we work at our 9 to 5. We want to be able to say, well, this day I want to be able to work this 9 to 5 or literally 9 to 5. I want to clock out at 5. I want to clock in at 9. I want to do this. I want to clock in at that. And we have to understand.
We're selfish. We're selfish. As humans, we're selfish people. We care about what we care about when we care about it.
It's very simple. So until we get rid of certain, and what's my theory? We all ain't ish in our own way. We all got something that we can say, hey, this makes me ain't ish just like the next person. So I want everybody to understand, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. That just simply means that you have your own selfish, maybe they're childish, maybe they're impure desires that make you human.
I was born with the FIG. I was born with the FIG. FIG. I was born with the FIG. It's called the fuck it gene. I was born with it. I don't know what my father was smoking or drinking when he conceived, when he shot the club up, but I was born with the FIG. And with me, everything that happens with me is a challenge to whether or not I'm going to resort to the FIG. Or am I going to, be better than this and still care, but still keep the same cool and calm and collectiveness that I have that derive from the FIG? So, what makes you laugh makes you cry. A lot of people got to understand that. Like, and when I train, I do this all the time. When it comes to basketball, I bring some sports center for y'all. When I train, I always tell people, when you are about to compete, when you're about to go to war, you have two options. You can dwell on your weakness, or you can use it as a strength. Anything that is, whether a weakness or a strength, is perspective depending on how you use it. If you're short, some people are like, he's too short to play X position. Well, if you stay low to the ground, if you're able to, be able to utilize your speed and quickness, or be able to get underneath them, then now it is a strength because you have leverage. We've talked about that before. If you can't dribble with your left hand, utilize it as a strength by not putting yourself in a position in which you have to dribble with your left hand. Run around screens, back cut, run the floor hard, move the ball more. And now you put yourself in a situation in which, when it's time to drive, you can comfortably drive with the hand that you're comfortable with until you develop this hand. But, to say it's a weakness, I'm like, it could be a weakness, but also, by the same token, I've seen Dominique Wilkins, I've seen Clyde Drexler score over 20,000 points, not even thinking about using their left hand. I've seen what's that dude named Harrington, Mississippi boy, Big Harrington.
Al Harrington?
Yeah, Big Al Harrington. He ain't never used his left hand, like ever. Not for layups or nothing. He will be on the left side, still lay up with his right, and nobody blocks it. Putting up ridiculous numbers, just a whole bucket. Never had to use his left hand because he played to that strength. He's like, okay, says I'm not going to use my left hand on the left side of the floor. I'm going to put the guy underneath the basket to where he can't block my shot unless it's a goaltender. So now I get to use whatever hand that I want. But in order to know how to use a weakness as a strength, you have to first know who you are. And you have to be honest with who you are. Because if you lie to yourself, you can never get to that point.
That's the whole point. It's nothing wrong with being able to identify where you're weak at and allow somebody else to help you where you're weak. At the end of the day,
use it as a strength while you're working on it.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, we keep it at basketball. Everything is really, really easy for a person to come down and say, I don't like the way that the NBA does this, that, and the third. Well, these players in today are a little bit more prone to say, hey, I like to play basketball this way. So I need players around me who do this. So
for the longest, that ain't just to that players of the day. That's
no. I'm talking about the pride that people think that all them old school players had outside of the couple of fools that we know of.
Yeah.
We talking about Michael Jordan's went and sat on Dennis Rodman's couch and recruited him because he knew he had no desire to get rebounds and play defense.
A dude that was considered an enemy in Chicago.
I'm just saying,
like we making it seem player in Chicago. He was the most hated player in Chicago before he got on the team.
So we got to understand, there's no such thing as winning by yourself.
No,
you never win anything in life by yourself. When you marry somebody, that still takes for you to marry another person. So that means that's something greater than yourself, correct? Y'all got to understand what teamwork is about. Teamwork is not about what y'all think it's about. It's not just about having somebody. It's about having a actual camaraderie with a person in which y'all balance each other out, or y'all can bounce off of each other and things of that nature.
And I'm gonna keep it a buck and a half, which the reason why we got those free tickets wasn't because of me, it was because of wifey. She asked for that because she doesn't mind opening her mouth and speaking up when she gets inconvenienced. Like, no, I need something to be compensated with. She don't mind it. Me, my fig is too strong. It's too strong. So it's not that, you know, I'm scared to ask for something. I just don't have enough fucks to give to want it. I just don't.
The only thing, that's probably the only thing I'll say. I really don't have no problem with opening my mouth and being like, yo, you're gonna compensate me for this over here. I'm gonna give y'all a quick story before we roll. But I went to a bar recently and went on St. Patrick's Day. So order some wings, couple drinks, blase skip, whatever. First, they started off by saying, hey, it's gonna be a 45-minute wait. I'm like, well, game is on, got some drinks coming, it's cool. My server leaves. No communication, no nothing. So I'm just sitting there.
They had a regular game to play.
Man, look, lady left. When the lady left,
he would have got buckets.
So after that, I'm just like, all right, come on, all right, cool. So I'm making contact with other servers. Like, I'm literally looking at the other servers, and I'm just like, you know, looking at them. Now, mind you, my food came and everything there. So, of course, you know, while you eating wings and watching the games, you're just chilling. When I tell you it was over an hour of nobody saying a word to me, not, do you need no water? Do you need this? Do you need this? Can I get you this? Can I get you this? I didn't get service for over an hour. So I'm making eye contact. I'm thinking to myself, and this is just me, but I don't come in any establishment that you don't speak, or I got to chase you down for my money. Why? Because I'm a customer. When people used to walk into a restaurant, if I managed it, you speak to everybody. You make everybody feel. So I made everybody feel like they were worthy. Now, when you came up to me and you was an asshole, then that's where you got asshole germ. Because I've been very, very keen to ask people who said they were waiting for food, would you like a refund? And you know what I see? A lot of folks just go in the back and sit down somewhere. That's exactly what we got a problem. Here's a solution. So I noticed that nobody said nothing. I've been in here since 10. It is now 12:15. Nobody has spoken to me since 10:35 when they delivered my food. So I get up and I walk out the door. I walk into the car. At this point, nobody has said anything to me. So y'all obviously don't care about my money that much because y'all ain't said nothing to me. So the lady and this guy walk out. Now the guy, I don't know why the guy walked out. He walked out like he was gonna do something. I thought it was funny. But she was like, I got your check right here. I'm like, you got my check right there, but has anybody said anything to me? What time does it say that order was put in? She's like, well, this order was put in at 10:15. I said, what time is it? She said, oh, nobody has serviced you for over exactly. So it's not about money. It's about the principle. So she says, okay, when I tell you this lady was so apologetic, she's like, I'm just sick and tired of all of the stuff that goes on in here. I'm always the one. So today we got the worker that was fed up versus the person who was here who didn't get serviced. So she didn't get into trouble. I made sure I paid my discounted bill so that she wouldn't get into trouble. Now, ironically, I got my phone. Now, for everybody who knows me.
Meanwhile, your server just went to overtime. It's a close one.
So I said to the lady, so my question is, what do y'all teach y'all servers? Do y'all teach them just to pick up what somebody else has done? No, the server should come and introduce the other server, so at least we know what tables this server is supposed to be picking up. At the end of the day, me dining and dashing isn't the worst thing. I said, but let me ask you this. What would you do? You would come up here and raise hell? I said, I wouldn't have got nothing off of my bill if I didn't walk out the door. Because you would have thought I was okay with the service that you gave. But since I went and I did that and did the extra, now it's like, okay, we messed up. Can you just pay this portion of your bill? Let me take all your drinks off. Let me give you this. Let me give you appetizers free next time you come in the door, and let me do all this. But why? Because I wasn't scared to say, well, I wasn't scared of the perception of what people were going to say of, oh, well, he dined and dashed. So it wasn't about the money. It's about the principle.
I only, and even with principle, I don't think it's a fear. First and foremost, you pointed something out that's very crazy and eerie. I always knew this about, after a while when I learned about my wife, I learned, because she was a manager at pretty much everywhere she went, she knows protocol, she knows how certain things need to be done. And you saying that, it makes sense why both of you have no problem with speaking up, because you like, me being a manager and how I used to be a manager, this is piss poor. Whereas with me, I never was a manager of anything. Either I was the bottom of the totem pole or I created my own to be a boss. So for me, I have two extremes. If the service ain't what I think it is, I'm going to pay you full price, and this is my payment to get you the fuck out of my life. You will never hear from me again. My sphere of influence will never touch your soil. And in the long run, you may not feel it. You may feel it. But you just lost a person that you could have built a legit customer relationship with, because the places that I go frequent.
And that understanding of it
and there is no right or wrong way to do it, but it's like, to be honest, y'all would rather have Germ's situation. You would rather have Germ do what he did, so at least now he will give the place a chance. It's the people like me you don't want, because you think you got off and you will never see me again. Like that, whatever that I paid at that one restaurant where I was telling you about yesterday, I got off cheap. Y'all never gonna see me again. Any raised restaurant I'm not going to in Atlanta. That's just dead.
Well, we won't be going to any raised restaurant in Atlanta.
And now you could have easily, because this could have easily been, yo, man, when you go on a date, if you ever go in Atlanta and you pick up something, you want to go on a date, take her to this place. It's dope. It could have easily turned into that, because my guys, they're not frugal with their money. They want a good time and they want what they pay for. They want to possibly even, have people who just care about the situation to be able to do what they do best. Everything is in details. So you just missed out on racks because you didn't do what you were supposed to do for just that little measly couple of $100. Okay, that's on you.
And MJ, that's where we are. Just as I think the Matrix is the best way to say it. The Matrix has slowed down so much for me now, and you become unplugged from it. It's certain levels of diplomacy. It's even levels to diplomacy.
Yeah.
Your level is I'll pay you. My level is I'm gonna push your buttons because you're gonna give me something for my time. Because at the end of the day, I don't like wasted time. So if and the thing is, what I noticed for myself, this is just me.
Yeah.
In the beginning part of my 20s, now that I'm in my 30s, I realized I didn't finish anything. I didn't go and I didn't challenge the narratives and challenge the things I needed to challenge to stand up for myself better. So now, play me if you want to. I'm gonna stand up. Not only am I gonna stand up, but you're gonna give me what I deserve.
And you hit the nail on the head with what you just said. It was a root to that. It's a root to that energy. It's a root to that energy. Mm-hmm. With me, I was put in positions of leadership, even though I've never been a manager in sports. I was put in positions of leadership in which I had to constantly convince guys to do certain things in the name of winning. And I failed at that leadership. And what I've learned is during that time, I used to be like a Chris Paul. I used to snap off on folks. I used to call them soft, do all that certain stuff because that's what I thought you were supposed to do. Because I used to watch, Jordan. That's how Jordan led. So I was like, oh, I got to be like this to lead. And it backfired in my face. And then that's why I started to learn I have to actually build legitimate relationships with people to be able to see what makes them tick, to see the vantage point that they have so that I could be able to build, a certain, understanding as to making sure that I put them in a situation where they could just be who they are. And that takes more time, but it's worth it in my opinion, because I've already went through my raising hell days and I got nothing out of it. I went backwards. The more I raise hell, the further I go backwards. Mm-hmm. Whereas the more that I remain calm, the more that I, become empathetic and understanding, even when it looks like a loss or even when it looked like I wasted my time, I always get it back tenfold. That's how my life works. And, because I know that, I know not to go back to old school MJ, because even though, it'll make society will probably make it look like I'm tougher by society standards, it's only going to put more hurt on me in the long run because I already passed that test. Because that was my test. It wasn't meant for me to be that way. It's meant for me to be the way that I am now, which is overly empathetic sometimes, but empathetic. I even looked at it from the waitress's standpoint because, she probably thought that we were going to dine and dash, or she probably thought we was going to ask for a refund for our food because we didn't like it, when really it wasn't about that. We just wanted it to get right. And when she realized that we wasn't running nowhere, and when I actually just gave my card and paid, despite us not being happy with the service, she tried to double back and make it better, or they tried to, because it was two of them working at once. They tried to double back and make it better, but I'm like, no, it's too late, because now I felt like you put us in a box before you even got a chance to understand us. Because you saw two Black people at a table at an expensive restaurant, you automatically thought we was going to try to pull something.
See, but you know what? And this is what I'm going to say as we wrap up. Let this be a lesson to people, though. We got to stop this because somebody else hurt us.
Talk to them.
We got to take it out on the next person. That's going to be the next show for next week.
I'm all for it.
Next week, we just going to talk about it just in general.
Let that
Stop letting people who hurt you before cause you to be hurt today. Like, at some point, you got to let that go. If you used to date a person and you see certain similar characteristics and qualities, that don't necessarily mean that person is the same person. It just means there are certain characteristics and similarities and qualities that these people have. We got to stop with this hurting other people, and my baggage is this. Stop. Listen, Shorty, homeboy, stop pulling up with Louis Vuitton luggage, thinking that somebody's supposed to put it in their car
with nothing in it though.
Like,
and if you just break down the word assume, ass, you, me, you make an ass out of you and me when you assume. Stop assuming.
Man, you can listen. Your obligation and your duty at all times is to try to understand the next person. So comprehension was something we were taught in school. It is not just coming from reading a book. Comprehension is, and if you can't understand a person, you have to ask questions, be inquisitive. There is nothing wrong with questions. If somebody feels like they're above questioning, guess what that tells you? That means A, they either don't know how to express themselves, B, they don't care to express themselves, and they're probably a little bit more narcissistic than they would like to say, or C,
they don't know.
It's either you know and you just don't feel like talking about it, which is a red flag. You're narcissistic, you don't really care to talk about it, or you don't know. So if you know, just speak on it. It's nothing wrong with somebody asking a question. When you go out on dates with people, it's okay to be inquisitive. If a person say I feel like I'm being interviewed for something, you are.
I mean, and it's like, in every relationship building that you do, no matter what relationship that you do to build in, it's going to happen in which discussion is going to occur. Like, it's so funny with me because I just know, this human psychology, just being around humans enough. I get them to ask me questions first. because I know the questions that I may ask could come off like what you just said. It could come off offensive to them because they may be tough questions that they don't know, and nobody, because everybody's so guarded, nobody just is willing to say, you know what, I never thought of it that way. I have no idea. So that's why I don't mind answering the questions, because I will say that if I don't know. And, that's me pretty much trying to lay the foundation as to like, yo, I'm an open book. You could be an open book too. I have no issues with anything. I got nothing to hide. I've been where I've been. Hell, we're doing a fucking podcast talking about our lives right now. I'm clearly an open book. I mean,
clearly, because some people will be like, oh, that's some bum stuff. You should have never tried it down to death. You should just paid your bill. I would have never done that. Well, you wouldn't be getting free stuff, and you wouldn't have got none of your stuff paid for either, sucker.
Or people would be like, I would have cussed out that waiter and cussed out everybody. Their mama dropped, hit the table. I'm like, yeah, and I would have went to prison.
Hey, so the way I did it, when I walked back in later on, because I had left one of my phones on the table, guess what happened? Every last one of them ran to my aid. Is everything okay? Now, when I walk into this establishment again, not only do people know me, but people are going to say, take care of him, because he's diplomatic, and also he's a tipper. He's not one of those people who's a jackass.
But, they probably prejudged you too.
Hey, I don't mind. Judge me, say what you want to say about me. But the first thing is you never will know what germ you may get that day. You might get diplomacy germ level 5. But you may get, but then you may get steel JERM. You might get him. And y'all just
above. We're humans. We have a right to have different things. We're changing every day. We have a right to have different emotions, different ways we react to things. Sometimes, I will be boisterous and be passionate about what I'm saying, and my, levels of voice will raise, and I won't always be calm and, collective as people expect me to be. Sometimes I get hyped too when, I'm still a human. So it's just a matter of what happens during that time for it to go. So, I mean, but, once again, just this world was built on prejudice, and that was probably the worst thing that could have happened, because now everybody already has a preconceived notion as to what a person is without even saying the damn word to them. And the more you do that, the more you live like that, the more you're going to miss out on the most beautiful part of life, which is understanding and tolerating and even coming to appreciate the differences of cultures, customs, how people was raised, their ideologies, and the things that they went through.
And I want to just tie this up as we wrap up. You notice how everything we did effortlessly ties into the first subject at hand, which is Nas X. Instead of you were so worried about the culture of his sexuality, instead of us worrying about the culture of whatever we say our religion is, let's understand what the person is potentially trying to do and then move accordingly. For this situation, he's looking for attention. Why? He's a troll on social media more than he is anything else. So you know what that tells you? This was an attention deploy. Make sure y'all understand that and just ignore the trolls. But you know what y'all do instead? Y'all give the trolls all the support, whether y'all like it or not. So with that being said, Germ, we got MJ signing off. Lab of Life. Make sure you guys check us out. We'll be back again next week. Let that hurt go.
Stoppage time. It's coming up in about a little over an hour. Definitely check out Stoppage Time.
Yeah, and Stoppage Time FC. We got a jam-packed loaded show tonight for y'all from the beautiful game of football. 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Make sure you guys are tuned in there with Big Shot Ron, my guy Zach, Joe Maver. They'll be there. But this right here, Lab of Life, we out, y'all.